Hi there, I'm Yasmeen, a certified ADHD and executive functioning coach. Today, we're continuing our journey with part 2 of our 3-part series on a whistle-stop tour of ADHD. In this session, we'll focus our attention on the different types of ADHD and explore how they show up in both children and adults. If you're curious about ADHD, its causes, and some common misconceptions surrounding it, then make sure you check out part 1 of this series. ADHD can present in various ways and is classified into 3 main types: hyperactive-impulsive, inattentive, and combined types. Each type has its own set of challenges, but understanding the distinction between them can really help in recognizing the behaviors associated with these particular types, and even in finding strategies that work. Let's start with hyperactive-impulsive ADHD. This is probably closest to the general image that people might have in their heads of a person with ADHD. It's marked with high energy levels, restlessness, and impulsive behaviors. People with this type of ADHD often feel like they're constantly on the go, and they really find it challenging to sit still, wait their turn, or to control their impulses. In children, hyperactive-impulsive ADHD might look like constant fidgeting, tapping, or moving around even when they're seated, running around or climbing in situations where it isn't appropriate, like in a classroom or on public transport, interrupting others frequently, blurting out answers before questions have been fully asked, or talking excessively without giving other people a chance to speak, struggling to play quietly, or engaging in activities that require sitting still. In adults, hyperactive-impulsive ADHD might show up as a persistent feeling of restlessness with difficulty sitting still or relaxing, even when they're in calm environments. Making quick, often impulsive decisions which can often lead to mistakes or unintentional consequences. Frequently interrupting conversations, talking over others, or completing other people's sentences, which can really affect social relationships. Difficulty staying engaged during long meetings, constantly needing to move around or find the next interesting thing to do. It's important to note that while physical hyperactivity often, but not always, decreases with age, impulsivity and restlessness can still significantly impact adults. This might show up as impatience in situations that require waiting, a tendency to take risks without fully considering the consequences, or constant need to be busy, even at the expense of downtime, which is desperately needed. Next, let's take a look at inattentive ADHD. This would have historically been known as ADD, and although it may seem like this is a better name because it is attention deficit disorder minus the hyperactivity, it's important to realize that mental hyperactivity is an element that is present in all types of ADHD. It just manifests physically in the hyperactive type. Inattentive ADHD type is characterized by difficulty focusing, following through on tasks, and staying organized. Individuals with this type might come across as forgetful, disorganized, or easily distracted. In children, inattentive ADHD might manifest as being easily distracted by external stimuli, like noises, sight, making it really difficult to focus on their schoolwork. They can even be distracted by internal stimuli like their own thoughts. Starting assignments or chores, but not finishing them, often because they've forgotten what they were doing or they've moved on to something new. Frequently losing items like school supplies, toys, even homework, which can really lead to frustration and feelings of inadequacy. Having trouble following instructions, particularly if they involve multiple steps, because their mind might have wandered mid-task, or they may have trouble processing multi-step verbal instructions. In adults, inattentive ADHD can look like difficulty maintaining focus during meetings, conversations, or when reading, and this can often lead to missed details or lack of processing information that was required. Processing on tasks, especially those that seem overwhelming, can lead to missed deadlines and incomplete projects. Having disorganized workplaces can often lead to lost documents, missed appointments, and a general sense of being really overwhelmed. Struggling with time management is really common, often underestimating how long tasks will take, which can result in running late or feeling really rushed. Sometimes individuals may overcompensate for this by going into waiting mode, which basically means that they can't start another task or activity because they're afraid that they will miss whatever they have scheduled by losing track of time beforehand. Even though the physical symptoms of inattentive ADHD can often be less visible than hyperactive-impulsive ADHD to an outsider, both children and adults with inattentive type are likely to face their own set of challenges in academic, professional, and their daily lives. But with the right strategies and support, they can learn to manage these symptoms more effectively. Finally, we're going to move on to combined type ADHD. This type encompasses the full range of ADHD symptoms, making it the most comprehensive form of the disorder. Understandably, it also makes it the most common, with various sources showing that between 60 to 75% of all ADHD diagnoses fit into this category. For individuals with combined type ADHD, the challenges can be more complex because they're experiencing both the inattention associated with distractibility and forgetfulness, and the hyperactive-impulsive type symptoms, which are linked to restlessness and impulsive actions. This combination can make daily life particularly challenging. But again, with proper support and interventions, individuals can learn to navigate these difficulties in ways that are effective for them. I hope that you found this whistle-stop tour of types of ADHD helpful. Thanks so much for joining me today. Keep an eye out for part 3, which is the final installment in this series, where we will explore some effective strategies for managing ADHD. This should be out next week, so stay tuned. And as always, if you have any topics that you would like me to cover in the future about ADHD, executive functioning, or coaching, then feel free to drop them in the comments below. Or if you'd rather, then drop me a DM. I look forward to welcoming you all back here next week. See you then.